Hey guys, WowSwag here. I know the lighting's kind of shitty right now, and that's because I can try and fix it. Nah, it's really sunny outside, it's really hot outside, so today I just decided to do a bunch of YouTube videos. Just get some stuff that I've been thinking about. I wrote it all down, so now I'm actually starting to, get into this. So today, this will be part 3 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 101. So, as I said in part 2, this will be about archetypes and playstyle. So, what's an archetype? Well, an archetype is a type of card that all has the same name. For example, Light Rays. So, we currently have Light Ray Diablos, Light Ray Gearfried, Light Ray Daedalus, Light Ray Sorcerer, Light Ray Grepher, and I believe that's it for our Light Rays. So, here's the 3. There's Daedalus, Gearfried, and Diablos. I don't run the other 2 in this deck. So, that's an archetype that has similar effects that coincide with going together, kind of thing. That is what I would categorize an archetype as. So, you can build a deck of just that archetype, and that's fine. It might not be that good, because some archetypes are weaker than others, but you can always try mixing them with other archetypes that work well with them. For example, Light Sworns. Light Sworns and the Daedalus, Diablos, and Gearfried go well together because all the Light Ray effects are milling effects, and milling meaning from your deck to the graveyard, either during or after at the end of the turn, to get a constant flow of lights into the graveyard, which let you special summon not only your Light Rays, but also eventually Judgment Dragon after you get 4 different Light Sworns in the graveyard. Now, the term boss monster comes up in just about every archetype. So in most archetypes you're going to have, or in most decks rather, you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 boss monsters. These could be their main deck usually, and they are key components to winning a game, or just really good cards that can help you change a situation. So in Heroes, for example, you actually don't really have a boss monster until you use Miracle Fusion, which is odd for an archetype. Inzectors are the same way. You usually have to build up to them, but Gores could be considered, or BLS could be considered a boss monster. So in Light Rays, this Light Ray Lightsworn deck that I have, it has 5 boss monsters, all of which are special summoned in some way. Gearfried is to have 5 different lights, any type of lights. Gores being attacked, obviously. Daedalus is 4 lights, period. It doesn't have to be different names. Diablos is 5 different lights, and JD is 4 different Light Sworns. So there's different types of boss monsters, and there's different types of decks. But what I like to do is I like to mix archetypes that I find go well together, like Mist Valleys and Dragoonity sometimes. With Dragoonity Darkspear, that tributes itself to get a level 4 winged beast from your graveyard, which is Mist Valley Falcon, that you can use to continuously beat down and stall your opponent with, so it's revealing light in a deck that's called Falcon Punch, but in my area, but it's actually called, I think it's Falcon Stun or something like that. Anyways, so that's just one example of archetypes working together to make a better thing. Now, there are generic cards. One of the most famous generic cards in our game right now is Tour Guide from the Underworld. It's a dark level 3 fiend. You play it, you get another level 3 fiend from your deck, and go crazy. Because, exit, all that good stuff. Now, another good generic card would be Effect Veiler, which is usually run at 3s because of the threat of Inzectors and, of course, Tour Guide plays. So that's, or wind-ups or anything like that. So, these generic cards can also help out an archetype. A good example of a really good archetype that works together and can work just by itself is Inzectors. Inzectors have plenty of stuff to help them easily take down their opponents, to break a field, to get rid of problem cards, and they get a boost from Tour Guide as well. So just to show you a brief, of what is used in an Inzektor deck at the moment, we have Gigamantis that helps as a equip to make you a beater. You have Ladybug and Hopper, which acts like Hornet except don't destroy anything. They just allow you to get the effects off of your other Inzektors like Dragonfly and Centipede. Caliber, which allows you to, once again, add attack and defense to a monster and recycle them after they go to the grave. And then, of course, your main three, Hornet, Dragonfly, and Centipede. Now, with all these cards, that's a really strong archetype. A Searcher, a Special Summon, a Recycling, a Power Boost, Destruction, Effect Triggers, Hopper lets you attack directly, and Ladybug actually increases the level of your card by up to 2, allowing you to go into rank 5 Exceeds. So that's really the main idea with archetypes. Now, this goes into playstyle, because not every archetype plays the same way. So a good example of that would be heroes. Heroes can be played very differently. They can play into a control base with skill drain heroes. They can play very aggressively with Bubble Beat, or they could, potentially play the old version of them, which was kind of in between, and it was a light version where it used a lot of light beatdown cards. So that's kind of what I went more the control build of the hero drain, using skill drain to help decrease my losses while increasing my effectiveness. So that's what I do. Control would be using cards like 1-for-1 cards like Smash and Ground or things like that, or Deprison, or things that will allow you to gain advantage while not really losing anything in the process. Like a lot of trap heavy decks are very control based. A lot of stun decks are very control based. Stun, I will get into that later about what these terms are. That'll be the next episode. Will be terminology. You have decks like Light Ray, Lightsworn, like this one, which is just basically mill through your deck and just drop big boss monsters, just huge attackers. Chaos Dragons is basically the same idea. Big monsters get the Light Pulsar, Red MD, soft lock going, and kind of go from there. And Inzektors is quite the same. It gets that Hornet as fast as possible, and then just start and go for that OTK if you have it. If you have the OTK, go for it, kind of thing. That's what our format really is right now. It's a very OTK format. Dino Rabbit is one of the only decks that doesn't really do it all the time, but they have the ability to. And I'll also go over what OTK and FTK and things like that mean. So there's aggressive playstyle, there's control playstyle, there's control and conservative are kind of the same thing. And then there's, of course, things like Chain Burn, which are mind games and bluffing, and I'll go over what that all is too, and how to bluff and things like that. So that was episode, it's a little longer than the other episodes, but that was episode 3, or part 3 of this Yu-Gi-Oh! 101 series. I really hope you're enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to feedback. Thanks.